When most people think of the legislative process, they often envision speeches and votes happening on the floor of the House or of the Senate. But in reality, the majority of the legislative process takes place in committee rooms, like this one, Hearing Room 4 in the Cherbourg building. So, in this episode of Capital Classroom Plus, we will be doing an in-depth examination of the committee room. We can break up the room into 4 main parts. The dais, where the legislators sit, these chairs, where the legislative staffers sit, the chairs where the public sits, and the TVW cameras that bring the entire hearing to you, the public. So let's look at where the legislators sit. The chair of the committee will sit in the center, with the Democrats to the left of the chair and the Republicans to the right of the chair. The ranking member of the committee, who is the most senior member of the minority party, will sit directly to the right of the chair, and the vice chair, who is a member of the majority party and assists the chair, will generally sit directly to the left. Legislators will listen to public testimony, ask questions, and vote on whether to move bills out of committee from these very seats. But they cannot do all this by themselves. Which brings us to the legislative staffers, who sit over here. The legislative staff are nonpartisan employees of the legislature. This means that they do not work for the Democratic or the Republican Party. They are experts on the background of the proposed legislation, and they work with the Code Revisor's Office to actually write the bills that the legislators are discussing.
Allison, you want to come join us up front and give us a briefing on that bill?
At the beginning of every public hearing and executive session, the staffers brief the legislators and the public on the content of the bills.
Hi. Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Allison Mendiola, committee staff. Before you is Senate Bill 5032, which is sponsored by the chair, Senator Wilson.
Why do you think it's important for y'all to be nonpartisan staffers?
So we're able to work to build the members' trust and be able to work with all members of both chambers equally.
Additionally, throughout the legislative process, bills get amended, and the legislative staff writes these amendments. Essentially, nothing could get done without these amazing people. There would be no public hearings for the public to testify at without the bills and the bill reports that are written by these staffers. In addition to the nonpartisan staff, there are also Democratic and Republican staffers who work for the party, and they sit over here. Which brings us to the most important part of this room, where the public sits. Now, the public is more than just you and me. It's also agency heads, experts, lobbyists, anyone who has an opinion on the bill at hand. In a normal committee hearing, the committee will hear approximately 3 to 4 bills. The legislature has to post which bills are going to be heard 5 days before they are heard, so the public has enough time to plan their testimony. If you're here in person, you will come to this table when your name is called by the vice chair, and you will have a designated amount of time to give your testimony. Or you could testify virtually, and your face will show up here on these screens. The time frame is determined by the chair, and generally, if there's a lot of people wanting to give testimony, the time that they will have will be shorter. So everything runs smoothly, the legislature uses these handy lights to let you know how much time you have. Green means go, yellow means wrap it up, and red means stop talking. Washington's legislature is incredibly transparent, and all committees are streamed using these cameras right here. So even though there's a myth that says that government happens behind closed doors, you now know that this is not true and that everything is viewable to the public. See you next time.